first and foremost, I appreciate you being here and
Yeah, man.
making time for us. I know that you could be a lot of places, so I appreciate you being here.
Thanks, bro.
I really want to talk about, what's going to move the needle for loan officers in their business. And one of the things I admire about you is you're just a very authentic person, and you talk about video marketing and content and branding differently than what we hear in the industry. Yeah. So the question I have is content that converts and being a leading voice, like personal brand, social media, what really separates the credibility versus likes?
Yeah, this is the difference. So people will post content just to get views and likes. And dude, you could jump on the table, rip your shirt off and start dancing, KT, you'd probably get some likes, maybe somebody be like, man, this guy's going crazy. So there's attention, but it might not be the right type of attention to get customers. And so you want to prove in your content a few things. You want the know, like, and trust. You want them to know you, just awareness, and like you. That's sharing some personal things, sharing, being authentic. But the trust part is harder to crack. And that's the part where you need to show them you're good at what you do. Like you're actually getting results for people. So I would say that nothing sells like results. And so if you could talk about, hey, here's the families I'm helping, here's the people I'm doing. I found that a lot of people on social are scared to share their success. They're like, man, I don't want to look like I'm showing off. The reason why they don't want to show off and you feel uncomfortable sharing the wins is because they never shared the work. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to show the work. That's the authenticity. Put in the work, show what you're doing. I'm doing this all the time where I'm talking about what I'm doing. And I'm like, hey man, I'm going out here, I'm doing this. And I just bring people along. And then when I have the wins, like, hey, here's the victory, or here's what we're able to do. People are really like behind you and they want to work with people. I think the hack is people want to work with successful people. And so you have to prove and show that you're successful and that you're getting people results.
What would you say to someone that was doing videos consistently and then inconsistent? And so they start doing them, now they're not, and they get back to doing it again. Yeah. And they kind of ride this roller coaster. And how much do you think consistency has to do with the outcomes?
Well, you hear about this all the time. You got to be consistent, and that's with everything. But I think the reason why people aren't consistent is because they haven't made it a priority. They're not getting results. There's a guy out here who lost 60 pounds. And I said, dude, he's been overweight his whole adult life pretty much. And he just decided and he lost 60 pounds. I was like, so dude, what changed? Like, what happened? Because he was like, well, I was just telling myself I didn't have time. And, I'm just go. I'm stressed and I eat bad and whatever. And I was like, so what'd you do? He's like, well, I started waking up an hour earlier. I was like, what? That's it? He's like, dude, I wake up an hour earlier and I walk. And then I started changing a few things about what I eat. And he lost 60 pounds. And I was like, dude, so people think, oh, you got to do all this fancy stuff. You need more information. You need to figure this out. You need to do this, and then you'll be consistent. No, you just need to decide. And so everybody just makes a decision, like, I'm going to make this a priority because it gives me more clients. It helps me be more respected. So once you connect the dots, you're like, dude, I decided. You'll find all the resources you need. You'll find all the help you need. And then it's like, okay, now I'm going to do this once a week or twice a week. I think the biggest excuse people tell me is they don't have time for social media. The reason you don't have time is because you don't believe it's a priority. And then the second part is, don't try and add this to your schedule. Remove something from it and add this instead. So I say, look at your week, and there's probably 2 to 3 hours of something you're doing that you could delegate to somebody else, that you could hire out to somebody else. And then in that window, that's where you can be consistent.
Sometimes the pain has to be great enough for people to move.
Yes.
Sometimes they have to fail so many times and.
Bro, I think this is like, everybody has a click, where it just clicks. I had a kind of a stressful summer and started eating a little bit shittier, and you start sleeping less, and
right.
It's just a slippery slope. And then one of my friends was like, here, dude, look at you last year, and showed me a video of me. And I just looked, I guess the term would be like more sprightly. Bro, I had a little more, just a little more energy in my step.
Right.
It looked a little bit more alive. I was like, dude, you know what? I don't know if that's the lighting or what, but like, yeah, I need to get back to that. And it just clicked for me right there. Like in the moment the dude told me, I was like, okay, I'm done doing this shit. Like, I'm going to start getting more sleep. Yep. I'm going to start eating better. I just decided. So people think like, I need to come to this, I need to do that. Dude, just make a freaking decision, and then let's go.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's so good. So one of the things that I've really had seen you share is like the pains that you've gone through to get to the higher level of branding. And I mean, you've gone from like production to a brand in the industry that's probably one of the better ones I've seen, if not the best. I think that a lot of people lose their authenticity during those times. And I like how you speak about, in 5 years I did this, Talk to those that might be, losing themselves in knowing how to be when it comes to shooting content, being, the brand piece that they want to.
So I think people need to be themselves. They hear authenticity. So how do you do that? Well, you just be genuine. Talk. I found people have two voices. They're like this voice where we're talking, and then you turn the camera on, they have a different voice. It almost goes into announcer mode. And so you don't want to do that because that will just die. You want to be yourself. That comes with just some reps. But I just imagine like I'm having a conversation. And this is probably the greatest hack is if you and I are just having a conversation and and there's cameras here that happen to record it, that's the best hack. So sometimes the hack is not looking at the camera, just have a conversation with somebody. You could have one of your coworkers, your spouse, somebody else sit in the room, ask you the questions, you answer them. So I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, and this is a great example of like us being here right now. I feel that way. Like when we sit down, it's different than what it was. When the camera started rolling, was different than when we were just sitting in here getting prepared for this interview. So
it's just kind of, you got to be yourself. And then the other part is, people will tell me, hey man, dude, I love the fact, like one guy came up and he walked up yesterday and he's like, hey, you're the same person on social media as you are in person. And you don't want it to be a different person. You don't want it to be like, oh, I'm, Mr. Tough Guy, this guy, and then you meet me and I'm totally different. That wouldn't work. So you need to be the real person online and offline.
That's so true.
Yeah, you see that a lot. There's a lot of people you meet and they're totally different than their persona on social. And it's almost like you're living a lie, which won't work.
Well, I think a lot of loan officers sometimes feel like they have to be professional in order to be successful. And I just, I don't believe that to be true. I think
I think you do need to be like, you can't pop on social in a wife beater and, probably like, talking trash. But
they get confused. That's the piece. They get confused. Like professionalism versus being yourself is not as...
Exactly. So you still need some level of professionalism, but at the same time, you, like KT, you wear suits. This is what you wear. So that's you being yourself. If I tried to wear what you're wearing now, bro, you would laugh at me. Literally, you just did. Like you'd be like, Neel, what's up, man? That's not you. So if you wear suits, wear them in the content. If you don't, be comfortable. There's still like a level of professionalism. I have different levels of black t-shirts. I got the black t-shirt that's like, for hanging out at home, but if I'm coming out here, I got a little bit nicer black t-shirt. The fabric's a little bit nicer. So there's levels, but the thing is if you're being yourself, in the content, it's going to work. The other part is it allows people to connect with you. And if they connect with you, you get more business. So I know we're talking like, oh, what's the point of this? Authenticity. Well, you get more clients. Because people actually connect with the content.
Well, I had my cowboy hat on last night. My jeans, my boots. And that's me too. And then sometimes when I come to conferences, I like to dress up.
Bro, I think like this, man. If you were to wear a cowboy hat in your content on a regular basis, I believe your engagement would double. Okay, because that's you, bro. You're with I can just see it on your head right now, and you would crush because you're just being yourself and you're teaching. Maybe there's some stick. So this is a great tip for everybody watching, okay? Like every content creator that you've seen that's blown up, that you connect with, they all found a format that works. So you remember that guy that would dump his face in the ice bucket and then he would do his workout routine? Guy blew up to millions of followers because he found a routine. He found this little shtick that worked, and then he just kept doing it. So, like, it could be for you, your cowboy hat, and you teach a tip of the week. Wednesday wisdom. I think about this like Wednesday wisdom, and KT's got the hat on every Wednesday, 52 weeks a year. He does that. Boom, that's your format that works. So, you have to think about this. Like, what's the thing you could stick with, and just do it consistently forever.
Sometimes I think people just try too hard, and that's the problem, is they just try so hard to be authentic, and they try so hard to be this, brand, or go this direction, and sometimes I think trying is hard.
And then there's other people you talk to, maybe this is like a little more cerebral, but you talk to them like they don't even know who they are. You know, maybe you got to do some,
a good point.
go to freaking therapy, do some work, you know, but yeah, at the very minimum, you have knowledge to share. Your advice matters. If you sit down with a client, you've got great advice for them that really impacts that family.
Right.
So all I want to do is take those great things that you're doing one-to-one and just switch it to one-to-many.
Right.
I just want you to put you in camera and do the same impact. But now instead of impacting one family, we're going to impact 100 families.
That's it.
And if you come across the same way you did, you're going to connect. And then what do you think is going to happen if 100 more people know these great things about you, or 1,000 people know these great things about you? You're going to get more business. It's just math at that point.
You know, when I was new to the business back in 2003, I was a baby face, and I used to walk into these real estate offices, and they would be like, "Oh my gosh, have you even graduated high school yet?"
Yeah.
And it kind of messed with me a little bit. And I said, "Well, I'm not going to go visit them anymore. I'm just going to start, picking up the phone and calling them," which then turned into video around 2007. And that's really what took off for me personally in my businesses in 2007. I started doing videos and emailing them out to every realtor in town. And then I would walk into rooms and everyone already knew who I was.
Yeah.
And it was such a huge impact on me. And that was a long time ago. And it still rings true today that, one-to-many works, and it can be very customized. If you want to baby step and just, be seen by a real estate, that's a great strategy.
Yeah, it's very simple. Like, you send a video to your database. Now the strategy is a little different from 10 years ago, where you might make the video a little more concise.
Sure.
Because people's attention span, or you might start it with a good hook to get them going.
Right.
So there's technical aspects to this, but the first part is just getting it going, just getting it started, finding some sort of weekly thing that you could do. I have a weekly email. So for people watching or listening, and they're like, "Man, dude, I don't want to be on video." Well, then could you do this in email and once a week? Dude, I've sent out every Sunday for the past year, one email.
Yeah.
It's just like, it takes you 60 seconds to read, but that works too, because that's sending it one message to many people.
So the next evolution of mortgage marketing, what do you think is the next wave, or is it going to continue to be video and branding like we see it today? You think it's going to be different?
Yeah, so this is the big thing I think that's changing. AI is helping us do more. Yesterday, the CEO of the largest mortgage company in the country, UWM, spoke on stage, and he talked about all the AI that they're rolling out. The AI was not to replace the loan officer, it was to help the loan officer close more business. So what it's going to, the loan officer of the future is going to need to handle way more deals. I think nobody wants to talk about this, KT, but everybody is agreeing behind the scenes. The amount of money you make per deal is going to continue to decline. Margins, like, you're going to make less money. There's people I talk to out here that are closing a ridiculous amount of business. When you have a few drinks with them and ask them how much they're truly making per deal, they're making 50 basis points, 60 basis points per loan on average. I'm sure there's some where you're getting 200 and 300,
sure,
but you're not getting big money per deal like the old days. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
So in a new world where you need to close 20 deals and you're used to closing 5, you need to use technology, and you need to have a brand. So AI is going to commoditize the space. I met with the CEO of a publicly traded mortgage direct-to-consumer platform. It's called Better.com, Vishal.
Very familiar with them.
Yeah, and they showed me how AI is handling the transaction from start to finish on HELOCs, underwriting, closing. They have a loan officer for compliance purposes, but the person's useless.
Right.
It's all done through AI. They've done rate term refinance from start to finish in a day, completed. They've replaced the loan officer already on the easy transaction. So there's a world where you can go that route. And then the other route is like personal advice and brand. And so it's David versus Goliath, but in this case, David can win because you have to put yourself online. Like, you can do the things that they can't. Better doesn't have a local guy in Las Vegas who's going to teach you and do all this stuff. You can be that person.
Yeah. I've always thought that our space was a commodity anyway. And, you got to stand out from the head of lettuce. How do you do that?
Yeah.
And I also think, man, I love that point a lot. Like, we need half the watermelon, not 100% of the grape.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
You need to do more deals.
Yes.
And so the only way to do more deals is to have more people know about you, and then use the tools that are being developed right now to handle more business. He just talked about, hey, you can dump all your income documentation into this thing. It tells you the income. And then it also tells you what programs it qualifies for. So these are the tech that's going to help you do more, but it's not going to replace you. You become the rainmaker. So I just think the average loan officer needs to understand, stop selling fulfillment. Stop selling like, hey man, I'm available, hit me up. Like I'm the best at what I do. You just need to be the best teacher, the best like magnet to bring in business. The work is the part that's getting commoditized. The work is the AI that's going to run the underwriting. So you don't want to be the best at DU.
Right.
You want to be the best at like, dude, I'm getting attention.
Right.
That's the LO who's going to win the 20 deals a month.
Love that. Love that. When you were presenting yesterday, and I was at the front row, and I chuckled a little bit. You'd make comments like, "Should we roll this, KT?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah.
And you have the video and some photos as well. And I think it gives a lot of people inspiration to see where you're at, and you're a little self-deprecating in a good way. Like, not. But what was your mindset, man? Like, you had a part down the middle.
Yeah, bro.
And you look completely different than what you do today, and it wasn't really that long ago.
Bro,
Like,
one guy
mindset did you go like?
One guy commented afterwards. He's like, "Now I see why you wear a hat." I was like, "Dang, bro, that's harsh," But yeah, it was like I just needed to do it. So I made a decision, and I was like, "Dude, I suck at this. I'm a nerd. I don't want to do it, but I'm just going to do it because I already saw the writing on the wall, like 2018. So I'm like, here's what I'm doing. I'm just starting." And then I just started posting these videos, but they were garbage. But the cool thing is I didn't know they were garbage. Nobody, like, it's weird. Nobody tells you suck. They just give you like encouragement. Yeah. So you only know you suck in hindsight. But the way you know you suck is not enough people are watching. So I would just look at like, okay, why aren't people watching this video? Why are they clicking off? And then I could get better and got better. And so, you can't, people, before you got to make them cringe first. What's the saying? You got to make them cringe before they'll binge. So we just got to, everybody has to go through this period where you just have awkwardness on camera.
That's it. Yeah.
And it's called camera cringe. So when you have camera cringe, it's like, dude, you're not being yourself. You're stuttering. Your lack of confidence on camera. And the only way through that valley of cringe is just to do it, bro.
So you gotta go through the pain.
Yeah, and so here's what I tell people. I say, hey man, if you're stuck with that, film 10 videos and don't even post them. Like I actually posted that shit.
Yeah.
I sent that shit out into the world, Nobody watched it. That's the good part, because you don't get any views when you suck. That's the good news. So I tell people record all these 10 videos and then just watch them back. And then you notice by the 10th one, you hate yourself a little bit less. Right. Your voice doesn't sound as you find a little more confident, and then you'll be like comfortable to do this. There's a guy, Darius, who makes, 7 figures in real estate. He's in our mastermind. He was last year. And he told me that this 10 video exercise is what got him comfortable. He has a little bit of a lisp, and he said that lisp prevented him from doing content his whole career.
That's crazy.
And then he's like, bro, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to take the challenge. Set 10 videos. By the end of the videos, he's like, dude, you know what? I'm going to post this one. And he got him going.
That's so good. I had someone come up to me at this conference here and said, KT, you did a class with 2020 Vision recently. And man, we laughed so hard because what you said was so true. I was like, what was that? And he said, man, you said you had a lady voice and it bothered you for a long time. And I would tell them, hey, you can't say that I don't have a lady voice, because when I built their drive-thrus, they're always like, yes, man, pull around.
Dang.
They can't see me. And so that kept me from doing videos. And, now I go through the drive-thrus. I'm like, yes, I'd like to, deepen my voice. But I do think that, when we look at each other, I think that when we look at each other or ourselves, we see what we're most insecure about. And that is what keeps people from getting in front of a camera. I always like to say, man, like, if you're in the grocery store and you bump into someone are you going to talk to them?
Yeah.
Of course you are. And it's like, well, we see you.
Yeah.
How we see you on camera.
Yeah, you decided that you looked good enough to go speak to customers and walk out here and talk to people in the hallway. The same on camera. Now, I do think that there's ways cameras will make you look worse than you do if the lighting sucks.
Right.
If you can't hear people. So there's little things you need to learn, like we got a light here, we got this going.
Right.
So that can reduce this whole cringe part, because now at least you were seen properly. But yeah, I think like people just need to get into the mode of like, okay, how can I make a video with the best, in the surroundings I'm in, like how can I make the best video possible, and then get it started,
Right.
That's the best way to do it.
Sure.
And then the other thing I was thinking was, the biggest thing, KT, is people are telling me they have all this knowledge, all these ideas, but they don't quite know what to say, And so I would just tell people to literally, this is going to be the best content tip for people right now, is to think about what does the industry say right now? Like write down the things that industry people say in your industry. So it might be like all the isms that they say, all the things that they say on a regular basis. So for example, in real estate, people will say renting is throwing away your money. You're a POS if you're renting, basically.
Right.
Next thing is like, it's never a bad time to buy. It's always a good time to buy real estate, and then the next thing, and you can just start writing all the things, the cliche things that they say. And then what would be your like opposition, or how would you frame it differently? And so if you were to take the first basic dumb example and say, hey, you know what? If you're renting, it might be the best move for you. Honestly, there's certain seasons in life where renting makes sense.
Right.
You're the only guy saying this. So I just think, yes, we need to do content, but if you sound like everybody else and saying the same old shit, you're not being honest, you're not going to connect with people. There was a lady who came up to me crying in Austin, Texas, I just spoke at, and she said, I'm not going to post videos because of my accent. She had just a very thick accent. I think it was Hispanic or something like that. And I was like, literally, the reason why you're going to be successful is because of your accent. Like you can't change your voice, bro. When you try to change your voice, it makes you less you.
Yeah.
So literally, the thing that people are like keeping secret is the one thing that would connect you with the most people.
The very thing that will help them.
So just be yourself, and then also, if you're honest about things and you believe, like, dude, there's a lot of people that believe that prices are coming down a little bit, but they're scared to say it on social media. So I asked realtors and lenders, why are you scared? They're like, well, we're going to scare away buyers. So nobody says this shit. Dude, just tell people, hey man, we're in the middle of a pullback here in Vegas. I'm seeing prices come down like 7%.
Right.
And so yes, real estate prices go up over time. It's an amazing investment, but that doesn't mean they go up in a straight line. There's bumps along the way. We're in one of those bumps right now. Here's how you can take advantage of it. Here's the opportunity.
Right.
You'll be the only guy who made that video in your market, or the only gal.
Yeah.
That's how you stand out.
That's it. So just reframe the things that we're already talking about and make it yours.
Yeah, make it yours. And then if there's something that you're afraid to say, that's the video you need to make.
Yeah.
Unless it's going to get you fired. If it's going to cause you to lose your license, please don't take the advice. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody's going to take this the wrong way and go off the deep end. I'm like, bro, I didn't tell you to do that shit.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
don't blame me.
Well, let me ask you one more question, and this is advice for the modern day loan officer. If someone was starting from scratch in 2025, bringing into the industry, what advice would you give them for the next 90 days?
Bro, I would tell you this. There's a guy here who came up to me. He's 28 years old, and his name's Ben. Young guy's in our group, and he's doing YouTube, right? He's making one YouTube video a week, and he said he has more leads than he can handle because no loan officers are doing it. So I gave him some strategies on how to better pan for gold, meaning like what are the questions you could ask people before they book an appointment. His biggest thing right now is people are booking an appointment from his videos and he can't do the calls. There's too many of them. So you have these people on one hand saying, how do I get leads from social media? This guy's saying, dude, I can't keep track.
Right.
What's he doing different? Well, he's just more comfortable on camera. He's being himself and he's teaching. So he picks one topic and he frames it as the benefit to the consumer. Right. So I would just tell people, for 90 days, I would make content, pick one platform. It's either Instagram, which is connected to Facebook, or YouTube. Those are the highest ROI platforms. I know people make money on TikTok. I'm not one of them. And even Alex Hormozi says they're getting the highest ROI from either Instagram or YouTube. So pick one. You got one ready to go, and then just make the content based on the outcome of the thing, not the thing. So one example is like he made a video about DSCR loans. But what is the benefit of DSCR loans? The benefit is that investors can buy property with no income documentation. So he's just making a video about how you can buy a rental property with no tax returns, no income documentation, and he walks you through the process. So everybody's always talking about the thing, which nobody cares about the thing. They care about the outcome of the thing. If like we're going to Hawaii right now, let's say we're going to Maui, and you're like, bro, these seats on Southwest are amazing. The peanuts, you get a Diet Coke,
right?
And you're like, bro, what about Maui? Let's sell the beach, So I just think we get in our head. We're always talking about the things. We need to talk about the outcome.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's wonderful. Well, man, I appreciate you spending some time with us today.
Yeah, man.
And I want to say this, man. Like I've been in your coaching group for just over a year, into my second year.
Yeah.
And, there's a level of like I'm proud for what you've done.
Thank you.
How you've done it and where you've come and how you've shared your journey, the good, bad, and the ugly. And I think it really motivates a lot of people. I know that I've learned more in your coaching group probably than I have in the last 5 years in other coaching platforms. And I mean that.
Thanks, man.
Sincerely. So if somebody wanted to plug into Ford Academy, like what's the process for that?
Yeah, so we do a big event every summer, but the best way to get started in our ecosystem, we have all kinds of groups, is just go to forwardacademy.com or DM me on Instagram. We have a content group that meets every other Tuesday. We do a Zoom call, and it's awesome. That's how you can get into the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, and you got some killer stuff in there. So
Yeah, it's
I
awesome.
appreciate all you do for our industry, man.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
Very much.